Shiloh Season, Chapter 6. I don't sleep so good that night, and neither does David Howard. When David comes over to spend the night, Ma opens up our couch to make a double bed, but it's got this bar down the middle inside this mattress, and every so often you hit it with your knee. Shiloh, though, he sure likes to sleep down at the bottom of that bed. When you wake up in the night, but your foot's still sleeping, you know you got a dog on it. That's why. Both David and me wake early and lie there talking while the house is still. You think we should tell? David asks me. About the squirrel, I say. He thinks that's bad. He should know what I know about Judd Travers. He nods. You could, but it wouldn't do it one bit of good. You ever hear of somebody getting fined for shooting a squirrel out of season? When you can walk down to Friendly and find half a dozen dead on the road. It's a whole different thing, killing a squirrel or killing a deer. You can shoot only a few deer a year in West Virginia. During squirrel season, you can shoot 6 a day. Don't make it any more right to shoot a squirrel out of season, just that the game warden isn't going to drive all the way up here because of a squirrel. I guess it wasn't the fact that Judd killed a squirrel so much as the way he killed it. That's what made us sick. His plain delight in watching it flop about his yard while it's dying. What kind of kid was Judd Travers when he was growing up, I wonder? What kind of boy was he when he was 15? I'm puzzling over what his ma and dad were like, bringing up a son who could sit and smile over a small creature's misery. We must look pretty tired at breakfast because Ma says, "Were you boys up half the night playing games? You don't look very hungry to me. I don't see that bacon going anywhere." Well, David and I both reach for a piece of bacon just to show her we're awake and hungry, but we're not. Ma's biscuits are good, though. I show David how to mix a spoonful of honey with a spoonful of margarine. Stir it up till it turns creamy, and then spread it on a hot biscuit. We play on the ball bag swing till David's dad comes to pick him up. Darylyn gets up, finally, and watches us out the window. But our yelling don't wake Becky. She could sleep with a full brass band by her bed. The Howards go to the Methodist church, and David's got to go home and change clothes first. "See you at school Monday," David says as he gets in the car with his dad. "How you doing, Marty? You guys have fun?" Mr. Howard calls. "Yeah, we both tell him. We did too, but watching a squirrel die before our eyes wasn't part of it. We like Sundays at our house, 'cause they're slow. Dad's home all day, and he'll sit out on the porch swing reading the comics aloud to Darylyn and Becky. Takes all the different voices and makes us laugh. Ma usually listens to Brother Jonas preach on TV, but now she's out in the kitchen making bread. She says that the next to her children, she loves baking bread on Sundays about as much as anything she can think of. She don't say so, but she loves Dad more'n she loves baking bread, too. And this morning, after I listen to Dad read the comics, I go back to the kitchen where she's shaping the loaves, and she's singing one of the country songs she likes so much. "If I could have 3 wishes, I'd spend 'em all on you. To love you when I'm lonely, to cheer you when I'm blue. To laugh with when I'm happy, because I know you're true. If I could have 3 wishes, love, I'd spend them all on you." I know it's not me she's singing about. I just smile, and Ma smiles back. I spread out my homework on the table across from her and do my arithmetic problems, trying not to let on that I'm worried. I wonder if there's ever a time in my life that I will have 3,998 of something and have to divide it by 7.5. I ask my Ma. "Even if you don't, Marty," she says, "arithmetic helps you think. It helps you learn to solve problems." I'm thinking arithmetic can't help me solve the kind of problem that we got with Judd Travers. If that were true, I'd stay up to midnight every night just studying that arithmetic book. The fact is, I'm wondering if maybe some of Judd's drinking is because of me. The 2 weeks I worked for him during the summer, I got to know him some, and after a while we'd talk about his dogs and stuff, so that on that last day, I felt Judd was a little sorry to see me go. Sorry he wouldn't come home from work afternoons and find someone there he could talk to. I'd figured to go back now and then to visit him, maybe to even take Shiloh, but I could never get my dog to set foot over that bridge again. And since I wasn't all that eager to see Judd myself, a good idea just sort of washed away. After we ate Sunday dinner, though, which at our house is about 1 in the afternoon, Dad lays down for a nap, Darylyn got her paper dolls out on the swing, Becky's in bed, and Ma She's got her feet up reading a magazine. So I set out for Judd Travers. I mean to come right out and tell him that yes, I was over there the night before, so he won't think I'm sneaking around. This time Judd's working on his truck. Got the hood up and he's changing the oil. Don't seem like he's been drinking today. Leastwise, he's not drunk yet. Hi, Judd, I say. Judd looks up and goes on tinkering under the hood of his truck. What are you up to? He asks me. Nothing, just fooling around the creek, I tell him. You taking care of my dog? He says. Those are the very next words out of his mouth, and what I don't like are the words, my dog. Shiloh's doing fine, I tell him. Thought maybe you'd bring him by one of these days, Judd says. How come he ain't with you now? How can you tell a man that your dog hates him more than bee stings? He's home playing with Becky and Darylyn, I say. They're fixing to spoil him. Judd just grunts. You don't take a dog hunting, he'll lose his touch. Dad'll probably take Shiloh with him when he starts hunting next month, I say. Hunting season hasn't started, Judd. Only thing you can shoot in West Virginia this time of year is a dove. There's a sly grin pulling back in the corners of Judd's mouth. That a fact, he says, and spits again as he wipes his hand on a rag. What I'm trying not to look at is the remains of that squirrel. Pieces of squirrel all over Judd's yard. Looked to me like he got up in the morning and threw that squirrel carcass to his dogs. Can you imagine those lean, mean dogs snapping and snarling at one another, eager to get a little blood on their muzzles? I swallow. Listen, Judd, I came to tell you something. Yeah, he says. David and me, he was over to my house last night, and we were playing spy. That was us you heard in your yard. This time Judd raises up real slow. So how come you didn't answer? We were scared because you had that gun. For a moment, Judd didn't know quite what to say. This amount of truthfulness is about almost too much for him to handle. What I haven't counted on, though, is making Judd mad. His eyes get all squinty, and the brows come together over the bridge of his nose. You expect me to believe that? You come all the way over here to play spy? You weren't playing, boy. You were spying. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. Your dad put you up to it. He didn't. He didn't even know we were here. But we shouldn't have been in your yard and... Well, he never even lets me finish. Judd's hollering now. You and that boy come over here once, you've been over more than that. And any two boys come sneaking around my house, won't even answer. Got something on their minds besides play. I'm no fool. It was you or that boy, or maybe both of you who scratched up my truck. I'm willing to bet. And I catch you over here again, I just may pull that trigger. Man's got a right to protect his property. Judd, Go on home, you hear me? Judd's standing there with a wrench in his hand, and his face has gone from plain ugly to pure ugly, and not a spark of kindness in those eyes at all. When I don't move, he yells, "Get!" and takes a step forward, and that's when I turn and head for home. Oh boy, I've done it now. I kick at a rock just about as hard as I can kick and send it flying into Middle Island Creek. I tell the truth, and look what happens. Can't believe Judd would really put a bullet in me if he ever sees me over there his way again, but I'm thinking he might just put a bullet in a living thing I love almost more than anything in the world. I sure can't go on like this, that much I know. Dad's working outside when I get home, getting ready to mow. I stand over him as he pours gasoline into the mower. Something on your mind, he asks. I wonder if Judd's drinking on account of me, I say, trying to edge in easy on the subject. Dad wouldn't like to hear that David and me were over at Judd's. Last night, any more than Judd did. Dad looks at me, screws the lid back on the gasoline can, then straightens up. Now what put an idea like that in your head? I was thinking about it after I got Shiloh and worked for Judd. I never went back anymore. I think Judd sort of got used to me being around, somebody for him to talk to. Probably so, but I don't think a man starts drinking because an 11-year-old boy don't show up. Judd's got problems that don't have anything to do with you, Marty. He sure wouldn't get no prize for getting along with people. But he says those things about Shiloh, about me, taking his dog and all. Judd'll jaw on about anything. You give him a chance. You know that. You know and I know and he knows that you earned that dog. Why do you keep worrying about it? I'm afraid he'll get drunk sometime and shoot Shiloh. Well, I'm worried he'll get drunk and go up hunting in our woods with his rifle, and a stray bullet will hit one of you kids, Dad says. You want to worry about something real? Take that one. But after all I did to protect Shiloh, the way that dog come to me, I just couldn't stand it if anything came to happen to him now, I say. I follow Dad as he pushes the mower over to a corner of our yard. Couldn't we, invite Judd to dinner or something? Make like we're really friends? Dad's looking question marks at me. Marty, no more'n 2 months ago you were hating Judd Travers worse than a rattlesnake, and now you want to invite him to him home? Just to keep on his good side. I'm thinking maybe now is the time I should tell Dad I was over at Judd's, but there's something about him that stops me. Dad rests his hands on the handle of the mower and takes a big breath. Fact is, he says, not looking directly at me, when I was up to see Judd last week, I lost my temper. I'm not proud of it, but it happened. I showed him the beer can and reminded him our woods and fields are posted, and all he did was cuss me out. I'm staring. He cussed you? Said I was a sorry kind of neighbor to keep my land all for myself to hunt on. Said if he had known what a miserly skunk I was, he'd never have let you have that dog at all. In fact, he says that because he did give him to you, you could hunt wherever he pleased. That was part of the bargain. That's not true, I yell, my face red hot. I know it isn't, Marty. Judd was drunk as a coot when he said that, and I should have come home and gone back again when he was sober. But I got a temper, too, when I'm riled. I told him I ever find him hunting on my land, I'm calling the sheriff. That's why I don't want him at our table right now. I'm not asking you to stay off my land. I'm telling him. I'm not asking him to stay off my land. I'm telling him, and I don't want him to think I'm backing down. I decide not to say anything just then about playing spy. The end of chapter 6.